Hello, everybody. So I got this idea not too long ago. A word came to me about a possible topic for one of our discussions, and it felt really big. And I felt I was given this word because I don't think it would have come from me normally. So I think it was kind of divinely put in there. And the word is acceptance. And when you really tune in and really think about that word, there's so much power there. It's beyond anything that you could imagine on how to move forward in this game of life. And it correlates, I mean, it's been discussed in psychology, in like Buddhism. And so the range is like completely, vast on how important this acceptance is. And I've also learned that, it's akin to letting go, to trusting and mindfulness. So it's all kind of interrelated, and gratitude helps it to process even more. So we're going to have a nice discussion today, and I have some charts that I wanted to share as well. So let's see if I can do this. Okay, let's see here. Maybe somebody else wants to talk while I go through and trying to figure this out.
Sure, I just did a little bit of looking up and reading because there's so many aspects, right, of acceptance. Arthur Rubinstein, I think it's how you say it, his quote, "Of course, there's no formula for success except perhaps an unconditional acceptance of life and what it brings." So part of the beauty of life is that it's unpredictable. Nothing is permanent and everything changes. And of course, a lot of things can happen that will transform who you are and have an impact on your life. The problem is that we need to cultivate the ability to truly accept whatever comes and embrace it. We need to develop the habit of looking at whatever happens through a positive mindset instead of a negative defeatist one. So Deepak Chopra, is that how you say it? He has a book, The 7 Laws of Spiritual Success, and he dedicates a whole chapter, I believe it's law number 4, on to how we need to receive with open arms what happens to us. Because if we fight and resist it, we are generating a lot of turbulence in our minds. So basically, I also, I discovered that it was happier, that, to be happier and more peaceful when we accept what has happened, instead of constantly fighting against it, talking about turbulence. And that's our humanness, some of our tendencies trying to change, fight against something because it didn't happen the way we wanted to, right? So
okay, let me just pull this up quick.
Perfect.
If I can. Well, that's not the one I wanted. Okay. Well, that's weird, but they're all kind of the same. So the difference is whether you're kind of going into 3D or 5D. And you can see that acceptance is in the more power. This is probably from Power versus Force, from a book. I can't remember who wrote it, but the level of acceptance is in the scale 350. I imagine that's megahertz or hertz. Let's see if I can find the right one. It's not right. Oh, wait. I'm going to stop it because it's not picking up the right one. But anyway, oh
my goodness. Technology. Again, we're accepting technology. Good point.
The thing is, throughout all this, I've been using the word throughout the day since I kind of like thought of it. And so anytime something comes up, the word comes to my mind, and I'm reducing the stress and the suffering from accepting and what is. So I'm gonna let somebody else talk for a little while and see if I can figure this out.
Annie.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I just kind of wanted to share with everybody because I do work with a lot of one-on-one clients. And what I find is when people come to me, there's a lot of times we as humans hold blame for our circumstances to everyone else. So I know when people come, they're like, well, my father did this, my mother did this group did this, my kids did this, my spouse did this. And there's always this blame, blame, blame. And a lot of times what I like to do with people is, okay, so let's go inside and figure out why this is affecting you so much. Why is it hurting? Why is that coming up? And what I find is sometimes to help us get to acceptance, we have to kind of do a healing on ourselves in different ways. Sometimes it can be emotional healing. Sometimes sometimes there's a physical healing that has to happen. If you were in a terrible car accident and you're still angry at that other person, maybe it's because we have to heal your body completely so you can get better. But what I just want to acknowledge is that, if you're feeling emotions inside, it's okay. It's okay to feel those. And that's part of coming to acceptance, is just saying, yeah, I'm really angry. And I'm going to acknowledge that I'm angry. I am so upset at this person. And it's okay that I'm upset. I'm going to figure out a way to get through this so I can move into acceptance. And one really big thing I want to share with the audience is that what I have found is when things happen to us, yes, they're terrible. Yes, they're awful, but somehow there's always a gift in it. And sometimes it's hard to see that gift. And I have people argue with me and say, I don't know what you're talking about. This was the worst thing that could have ever happened. But once a healing takes place, or you up level, upgrade, change your frequency, you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so thankful that happened, because now I've evolved. Now my relationship is better. Now, whatever it might be. And I just want to say, I know that can be hard right now for some people in the audience to hear that there is a gift within some of that. But if you just kind of relax into it and take a look around, you'll see how much better your life can be after something, even if it is terribly traumatic. And that's part of acceptance.
Correct. Thank you, Annie. That's awesome.
Yes. And the more you resist, the more whatever it is that's bothering you will stay by letting it
you
go and
actually
accepting
strengthen
it.
it. Because
almost
if you resist, when you're
Yes.
thinking like, I really don't want X, Y, Z, I really don't want to experience this emotion over and over again. I really don't want to face these same trials and tribulations in my life. You're giving more energy to that emotional feeling space. And that way, the universe doesn't understand the word no. It's like nobody ever told the universe that no is a complete sentence. It's like it doesn't even exist. It just recognized this emotional feeling space. You're welcome. There's more of this.
Yeah.
So it's like you're doing the opposite. But it's really hard when you are in a kind of a place where you find yourself challenged. It kind of makes a person want to punch someone in the kidneys when you say like, maybe you should think about something else. It can be challenging, and we have to respect that. But also, you make the choice. What do you accept into your life? And it is possible to accept a phenomenon or a person did this and this and that. That is acceptance. You don't have to accept the results. You don't have to accept these experiences into your life again. You can say that, no, that doesn't apply to me anymore. But what you
There are
did,
exceptions, though.
yeah.
Like-
So what you did was basically your calling card. energetically. It doesn't define, like what happened to you, that doesn't define you. And that's something I find like people have been so programmed to say like, I'm so mad at this. I'm so sad. I feel so depressed. I'm so this and this. I'm so anxious when I think about this and that. You're not anxious. You are experiencing anxiousness. You're experiencing anger. And when you take the mask away from anger, you find a face of sadness.
Mhm.
I found that when I was doing the dark night of the soul, you know, the whole shebang, kind of like a tale that keeps repeating itself every now and then in our lives. I've noticed, at least, you know, on my case, but you're not those things. You are experiencing these emotions, but the only person who can change your state of experiencing is yourself. You get to choose if you give more power to these negative feeling space, or do you want to maybe think about something else?
So basically it comes to we act that way when we become more reactionary. And
Yeah.
that's just kind of how we in our human lifetime have had to be on all levels. But what we could do is to make acceptance easier is to maybe kind of stop and list the possible explanations for why you're experiencing something.
Mhm.
And I think finding the lesson or the purpose behind the challenges that
Mhm.
you're having, and because you first of all have to acknowledge it, like you said, and you can't change it. These things are so much that's out of our control. So you're going to have a lot more peace in your life, a lot more happiness if you can, realize it, you know what I mean? And that you can't change it, and you have control over how you react to that, for sure.
Mhm. And also, when it comes to acceptance, is you can't change the past.
Mhm.
It's what's been done and said. It's been done and said.
Yeah.
You can either see in those memories, or you can choose to look for something else, like turn your gaze to other things.
Right.
But also, when it comes to, you know, your personal boundaries, it's like you are your own country. What are your borders? Who do you accept in? What energies do you accept, and what energies do you deny entrance? And
It's never
everything is
good to accept abusive
no,
Right. No, that's a different,
No.
yeah.
of any kind, abuse of any kind. So the point here is to love yourself enough to do what you can in the moment
Mhm.
to try and make things change. So that's the only thing I wanted to say about that.
Well,
Sorry.
having the discernment to separate where the
Yes.
line is
Yeah.
drawn.
And I don't think acceptance means that, you know, you accept that for yourself. You accept the thing happened,
Right.
but
Yes.
you do not accept anything like that in energetic level, in physical level, in any kind of in verbal. No, that doesn't happen, because these are my borders, and that energy doesn't get to come through. I don't accept that. So it's also important to understand that everything you say yes to, you say no to something else. You say yes to another shindig you promised to go, or to do something you maybe didn't really want to, but you didn't want to
Right.
upset people. But simultaneously, you said no to something else. You said no to your own time. You said no to maybe your own time with your own family, etc. So there is the balance there.
Right.
But it's the whole thing about acceptance comes, like I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, you know, this is quite genius for a subject matter, because this acceptance is found in Buddhism. Like you suffer until you let go of the suffering. Where does the suffering come from? Comes from a place of want, which means that your ego is still bound to the, sorry, I have a cat hair in my mouth. And happens in my household. But when you let go of the expectations, you take away your personal ego from the quotation completely. separate yourself. It's almost like you're watching it from the outside. When you don't have any expectations, you don't feel the suffering or the loss, and you understand that everything that happens eventually passes. And it doesn't mean that you are emotionless either.
Mhm.
It just means that you can externalize and you can look at it in a rational way. But it's important to feel the emotions that you are feeling. But they're also, I think, simultaneously, it's also important to say that, I have to start working on this. Like this year, I was in a really, really dark space for quite a good while, in a really dark space, until I started to think like, no, I think I'm gonna, this is where I start to fight. Like I really start to fight.
Well, I think it's like
I
exercise.
do.
It's like when you're exercising a muscle or you're trying to develop, take away a bad habit or develop a good habit. The first step is just pausing enough to reflect and realize what's going on, like you said. And I think, true acceptance, or the beginning of that, is basically not judging, learning to not judge what's happening to you or why, but just be, the old saying, believing that everything happens for a reason. There's really something to that, because we do have to say, the universe, God, or angels, whoever, are watching over us and helping us along the way, and they see the big picture. We got the blinders going, and we only know a fraction of the story. And so there is a silver lining. There is, when one door closes, another door opens. Some of those, they may sound cliche, but there's definitely gold in there. You know what I mean? There's definitely truth. So I like this. So instead of staring at the closed door in front of us, or getting tired and bruised while we try to break it down, let's turn around and see how many other windows we have to open.
Yeah, and sometimes it's really good to keep some of the doors closed, or maybe I don't know, bolt them closed, burn them if you have to. Big on burning here.
Yeah, right.
But make it an effort to, make it really big to release it. It's so it's not going to be clinging to you. Release it in a loving and kind way, saying thank you for this experience, but I choose to let you go.
I'm keeping the lesson, but I'm choosing to move forward.
Yes.
And I wanted to just say, sometimes I just want to tell people that I think when you come to that point of acceptance, that's when tools are brought to you and ways to heal. And I love this. If you've ever studied the Course of Miracles, they talk about in there, like, no matter if you try to keep coming at it, it never changes. But once you kind of come into the stillness and acceptance of it, that's when the universe helps you out. And then that's when things come to you all of a sudden. The right teacher, the right some type of tool, the right book falls in front of you to read to help you move through whatever it is that you're going through. So I know there is a point of just kind of being at peace. Oh, look, Dana has a book. There's a point of being at peace, but just know also there will be tools that come to you that help you move through it too, to make that acceptance even easier. It just get you where you need.
Because basically you're not in the right space to get them before that.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Even in Buddhism, as Dana was saying, they start with a chant. If you study it, they have a chant, and you say it over and over and over and over again to help you get to that piece of just acceptance and letting go. And I love it. I can't remember what it is. I say it wrong every time. I wish I had it written down.
Is it really a chant that's called, it's a name to the chant? Sometimes.
Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I don't remember what it is. It's like 5 words. It's just like 5 words. And it's just beautiful. When you say it, there's such a great frequency to it. You can just feel your body automatically relax as you say it.
I'm sure somebody even in the comments will know and they'll type it in.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. I forgot. I'm so sorry. I don't remember at the moment.
That's great. A reminder too. There is so much at our fingertips.
Yeah. The book that I was showing it's Marcus Aurelius's It's I have a Finnish translation. This was translated from Greek, and this was the first. I remember I bought the book right before I gave birth to my son, and it was the first book I read to him out loud. And he was 3 weeks old when I did. So it's I think it's called Meditations is the English language version. And the Stoicism is basically walks hand in hand with Buddhism. And with the psychology recognizes a term, radical acceptance. And that is often used in behavioral therapy with people with BPD and other disorders where the emotions can be very strong, kind of calm the nervous system to understand that it's not really that big of a hairy deal. Like what happens to you is just a phenomenon. It doesn't define you. You get to take a step back or several if that's easier for you and look at them from the outside. Really what happened? 5 years from now, are you going to still be so miffed about this? Do you have your knickers in a bundle still? Is it really worth the mental gymnastics? Or maybe just let it go. Things that happened. And some, I don't want to kind of minimize, because people really have awful experiences, but they don't define you. They are in your past. Don't bring them into your future.
Yeah. I love this conversation.
On today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I want to point out too that I'm enjoying this, and a lot of this logically from a book learning kind of point of view, I get it. But for those people who for most of their life have been aware and practicing, and whether they're in psychology themselves, they're counselors, they're in certain kind of careers that is where they're focused, and they have learned deeply things. But for me and people that are in an analytical brain and doing things in other types of work, these kind of philosophical and these very helpful tools for life have been shoved to the wayside for us. They haven't been in our wheelhouse. Because I remember when I was had to learn what they call meta programs. And that's, where you learn if somebody is kinesthetic. Do they really feel things mostly? Are they auditory? Are they visual? And if you can kind of identify those things, you can be more effective in how you present and how you approach them and discuss things, and they'll get it. But for me, it's like, no, that was like a speed bump for me. As I learned it, it got better, but it wasn't innate and comfortable, because all that, how are you feeling today? Tell me what's going on. For me, that just didn't work so good. So I think that some people will have a lot more homework or a lot more of a struggle to get to the point where these wonderful tools, start to gel for them, and just realize it'll just take some time. Does that make sense, what I just said?
Yeah.
Yeah. And a very good start is self-acceptance.
Yep.
Huge.
Yeah.
Accepting yourself for who you are, your uniqueness, and we're all unique. That's the beauty of this world. We're all so different and unique. So and if you have problems with that, I think Louise Hay had a really great exercise, mirror work.
Yeah.
Telling yourself you love yourself in the mirror is a painful but powerful experience and tool to be using. So make sure that you start with self-acceptance,
especially for those people who have been so busy focusing on everyone else but themselves.
Yeah, that's true.
And so many of us, whether it's in your job or whether it's as a parent, you give, and you never fill up the cup. So
I'm going to see if I can share this now,
Okay,
because it really,
it's
I
very.
love using this. Oh,
Okay.
that's not it, is it?
The
What?
universe is just working against this for some reason.
Ah,
So Annie, I like, because you have so many tools in your toolbox. Is there any other little pearls that you got?
Ah,
I mean, they come up as we probably talk about stuff, but
yeah. I always like part of acceptance too. What I like is our worlds are crazy, right? There's so much always going on, no matter where you're at. It feels like now at this day of age, we're go, 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 go. And even there's social media to look through. Our jobs expect more of us. Our kids are doing 10 different sports. It feels like you're driving all over. And one thing I feel that is really good for acceptance and getting you where you need to be is stillness, whether that's in a practice of meditation. I'm really always believe connect to the light. And when I say light, I mean universe, the universal consciousness, whatever your connection is. If you can take a minute to go in and just be still, then instead of hearing all this outside chatter or even your own mind chatter, because we're in there telling ourselves we're not good enough, I didn't work hard enough, I didn't get my projects done, the house isn't clean. I sometimes, well, I do it myself. I always have this list and I feel like I didn't do enough. But when I just quiet, then I can hear the truth. I can hear really that I'm enough, that I did my best. And I know that's a lot of people in this world are trying to do their best.
Right.
And sometimes they mess up. Sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes we hurt people and we didn't mean to. And I always like to say, if you did, own it and just say, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. To your kids, your spouse, coworkers, whoever it might be, that's part of accepting too. And just saying, yeah, it's okay.
now, are you seeing this or not?
we're seeing this.
I'm seeing that.
Yeah, isn't that the same one?
Oh, okay. Well, you can see acceptance on here.
It's on the upper side of a fourth dimension.
Yes, above willingness. And
Yeah.
again, there's that
There's inner light.
frequency.
Inner
And-
light is above, and acceptance is there, and willingness underneath.
Yeah.
And I love what it says next to it, that it's forgiveness. It brings you to a state of harmonious.
Yeah.
Stepping out with passion, and what we experience is happiness and productivity.
Mhm.
I just love this chart. So, where are you at? So are you in love or are you in fear? And, we need to get to this point, we're doing this ascension work, right? So this is all part of it. All the things that we try to talk about is trying to build you up and make you more empowered. So this chart tells a lot in my book about, how to get there, how to, what we're experiencing, to check in with yourself and see how you are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just two steps away from paradise if you look at it.
Right over here.
Mm-hmm.
So I just love this chart and I go to it often.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing that stuff. That was a good perspective for everybody to see.
Right.
Yeah.
But I love how it goes along and it says, how to get to that point, what you will experience. And I can't make it available through a link, I don't think, or I would, because I like it so much, but I keep that handy for myself. And I think I found it on Pinterest. And I just looked up levels of consciousness. So anyone wants to look it up.
Lots of good stuff out there.
I think I want to just throw out one more tool. I mean, if you're listening to this and you're like, I still have no idea how to get there, I don't know what to do. Just start with, I'm willing to accept. I'm willing to accept. Yes. Thank you for bringing me acceptance. Just start with just some small affirmations and then notice what happens during your day. What things pop in? because the universe truly has your back and is going to bring you answers. You just have to, just ask and then just pause and see what comes your way. So very simple, but it can help transform things quickly.
Mhm. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
And when it comes to Stoicism, there are a whole lot of videos in YouTube about this the whole expression Stoic, stance, Stoic philosophy, Stoicism. You can find oodles and oodles, and I think at least last time I checked, you can find in Marcus Aurelius's books on PDFs as well. So I think they should be very easily available. But his writing too, like that was radical to me, because the time when I found the book, or the time when the book found me, was not, it seems to be a reoccurring theme oftentimes, wasn't a happy time in my life, wasn't a safe time certainly in my life either. And I was in so many conflicting, thoughts at the time. And I read the book and I was like, yeah, it's true. It doesn't really, all that's happened, it doesn't happen anymore because it's in the past. And I can accept that these and those things have happened. And I will radically not accept that to my experience anymore. And I haven't. But the thing is kind of like, it's like he is putting out these words so beautifully. And the whole Stoicism is so, it's almost like realization that things don't necessarily happen to you. People don't do things to you. Don't take it personally. People do things because of them. It has nothing to do with you.
Yeah,
It has
you're just in the
everything to do
way.
with them.
You
Yeah,
just, yeah, cool.
you just happen to be there. Something was, maybe it was compatibility in terms of energies. Maybe you had a bit of a contract or lesson to learn.
Yeah.
But what they did or said was their business. But now how you react to that, take emotional ownership of your own emotions.
Yeah.
That is up to you, but not anyone else's doings or sayings.
Yeah. I do know it's going to take practice. It does
Yeah.
take a lot of practice. You don't
Yeah.
just flip a switch.
No,
that.
and I want to add one more thing too, that, if you're in a situation that you're not happy about,
Mhm.
recognize it in the moment, but then find something that you're grateful for in that moment. Like, for example, it's hot here a lot, every day. And, it's not my cup of tea. I really am not like happy about it. But in the moment, I say, I'm so thankful to have the air conditioning working so beautifully to keep me comfortable. Just something simple like that will really help to reframe the whole situation and put you in a state of acceptance.
Yep.
So, try that as well.
Yeah, kind of like the old the phrase, turn around your stinking thinking.
Yes.
That way. There was some book that had that little phrase, and I like it. It's easy for people to remember.
Turn around your stinking thinking.
Mhm.
Love it.
So,
well, that's where it all starts, really, because your thoughts become your words become your actions, your acts becomes your destiny. You're creating your future.
Yeah.
Every day, every thought, no pressure there.
No pressure. Oh my goodness. What a great topic. And
Yeah.
I'm sure that everybody can relate to this and at the different levels that they're
And
at in their
I'd
life.
like to interject something, the last thing, I just lately have learned something from my people, Andromedans, and there's like I'm quite good at externalizing myself in situations, and I do understand that, you know, how other people behave has everything to do with them. It doesn't have to do anything with me. But I am a curious creature. I want to, it's like almost like I feel like all my life I've been studying humans. I find them fascinating and oftentimes quite confusing. Like I needed to understand, why did this and that happen? And they were like, don't make us go there. Like, you don't need to know that. That's the detail that you don't need in your life.
Yeah.
What you need to do is mind your own business. Don't make us go there. And I was like, but I really want to know. And they were like, I really don't want to go there. And they didn't.
Well,
And
and we
that
don't
was a
have to know.
valuable lesson to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, you're right. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change the outcome. It
Correct.
doesn't change anything. If anything, that's, you know, those details can drag you deeper into the place where you don't want to go, when you could be rising higher in your kind of frequency, in your vibrational states. You don't need to go to details and get tangled over there. Don't get kind of keep your eyes focused where you're going, even if you don't know what it is.
You want to
Maybe it's
go.
a feeling place. I'd like to feel happier every day. One day I will die saying this. I want to become so obnoxiously happy that people can stand to be around me. Like, that is where I want to go. And the chateau is another one. Mama needs a castle. So
Yeah.
kind of like those two things. Do I need to know details about something that has absolutely nothing to do with me? No. Would that have heightened my vibrational place? No, quite the opposite. So
Yeah.
they were like, don't make us go there.
Again, keep
Don't
your eyes on
wanna
the
do that.
prize. Your eyes on the
Yeah.
prize.
So that was just, I don't know if that was even a week's old lesson or something. That was quite recent. And that was like every time now I feel like, but I want to know the detail. I want to understand why. Like, why, what do you need that understanding for?
Yeah.
Keep in
Good.
mind what it is that you want. That, yeah, no. I
Yep.
will forever remember the faces like, don't make us go there. And I didn't.
Anything else?
Well, I hope everybody found something useful here, and I want to say thank you to Annie
Yes.
for joining us today.
Thank you, Annie.
Thank you for having me, ladies. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So
It's
glad
a
that
pleasure.
you came and joined us today with your valuable tools.
Mhm.
So
This is an amazing topic. It was a great one to discuss. It's very, I want people to get happier, healthier, and its acceptance is a big part of that.
Huge, huge. So thank you all.
we
Thank
hope
you.
you enjoyed it.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.